Stacker over here.
Hello.
So we are both mic'd up. Hopefully you can hear us. So I've got the mics on the seat belts, so hopefully it's not too crazy loud. You guys will have to let me know. And I'll do my best to read off of his phone and make comments. So if you see OC Stacker making comments, that's Surfer doing it. That's why he put in there I was really smart, because I was just playing around. Anyway, if you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up or a 1.
Millions of creators are making the switch.
Oh, now we're gonna have ads on your thing? Oh goodness. And give us a second. We have to go through his ads. So anyway, we've got an awesome show for you guys today. We had an awesome time today, already driving 4 hours from where we live all the way up to Northern California, which is really not Northern California, but it's Central California. And we're on our way back. So we're picking some stuff up for one of his clients, and I think we picked up some good product. So we'll talk about that a little bit today, but we're going to talk about silver. Are you guys excited about silver? If you're excited about silver, put a 2 in the chat. I want to see a 2 in the chat if you guys are excited about silver. I'm very mixed. I want to buy more, and excuse me, the price is freaking me out. It's jumped so much. But, you know, if you're doing what I'm doing, which is dollar cost averaging, you know, you should be okay because you're buying a little bit all the time. And when you do that, you'll kind of average out your overall price for things, right? So anyway, that's what I'm trying to do. I know OC does the same thing. And every once in a while we find a bigger deal, and it requires us to go visit someone. It requires us to go somewhere else. So that's kind of what we're doing. This is a road trip. So I have no idea where we are. Let me see if I can find a town name. I don't know. We're somewhere in Central California. Where did we just come from?
Tulare.
Tulare. Wherever that is. It's 4 hours away from where we're at. But great drive up here. There's still traffic because of the time of the year, right? Holidays. But it's good. We picked up some silver. We did some silver testing today, and got to test out the new Sigma Pro. It was pretty cool because unless it was already calibrated to Silver Eagles, which is what we picked up, as soon as I put a Silver Eagle on it, it started going for it. I didn't have to tell it what I was going to try to test. And the Pro tests all the way through the coin, not just the surface of it like the the original Sigma Metalytics does. I have a great interview with the director of sales for Sigma, and I need to get that edited, so we'll do a live stream for a little bit here, and then I've got to do a little editing, but we still have 3.5 hours of driving to get back, and that's if we don't get slammed with massive traffic in LA, which could still happen. So here's a couple things I want to hear from you guys. Put questions in the comments so we can get to your questions. So that's number 1. Number 2, I want to hear if you guys picked up any kind of great deals on Black Friday. We'll talk about that. Number 3, I want to know what you guys are thinking as far as silver price goes. Let's pull it up real quick. We're sitting at $57.06 right now. Okay, it's never been that high in all of human history. Priced in the dollar, of course. You guys, we're not very far from $60 silver. It's only $3 more. And we could hit that tomorrow. We could hit it today. We could hit it this week. It's looking like we have a very high probability that we're going to hit that and probably blow past it this year. Will we get to 100? I want to know, do any of you guys think we're going to hit $100 silver this year? I've seen a few people talking about $100 silver is possible. I definitely think $65 silver is possible. And if you go back to my video about a month ago, I talked about, could we have $75 silver in the next few weeks? This is still kind of in that relative few weeks, give or take a few more weeks on top of that, but, within weeks, we could still see that happen. I don't know if the year is going to close out at 75. It seems kind of high. It seems like we'd have a pullback if we run there. But if you look at the charts, the 45-year cup and handle has now been not only breached when we hit 50, but it's been confirmed because we've gone below 50 and we've gone back up to 50 and we went back up. So this is now what I would say in technical terms is a confirmed breakout in silver. Now for gold, we had that last year, and you saw that when we started breaking out over $2,000. So we've had about a year of a breakout for gold. Silver just broke out on Friday. So these bull runs, a lot of times, especially one like this that's going to not only be based on industrial demand, it's also going to be based on monetary purposes, okay, especially for silver. These typically run 5 to 10 years long in these bull runs. And so we're only in day 2 or 3, I guess day 3 for the breakout in the bull run in silver, and we're about a year into the one for gold. Now, you're going to see the ratios go all over the place, guys. I don't expect we're going to see a ratio below 50 anytime soon for gold to silver. And I don't expect that we're going to be going way above 100, but we could see 100 again. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking there's no way. If we end up having a situation with, let's just say, a stock market correction, a stock market crash, or a stock market collapse, any of those things, they will definitely affect silver way more than they affect gold. If we see situations with, like, say, a peace treaty with Russia and Ukraine, that could be bullish for bullish for silver, and a little bit bearish for gold, at least in the short term. These metals aren't priced where they're at because of the war, but it can be affected by it. So I'm still thinking we could potentially see one more time 100 on this GSR, and if we see that, guys, and you're wanting to do any swaps, that's the time to do it. I don't know if you're going to see it again. Likewise, if we start seeing the ratio getting down into the, let's say 72 down into the 60 range, that might be a place where some of you might want to, that are heavy in silver, may want to consider picking up some gold. Definitely, if we get into the 30 or 20 ratio, that's a place where I think a lot of people will be playing the ratio going backwards and starting to sell or trade a lot of silver into gold, okay? So those are the things to be watching as far as the ratios go. We're going to have a lot of that happening up and down all over the place. I'm still buying silver, but I'm starting to, not buy as much of the silver as I was when it was above 80 and when it was above 90 and 100. I was picking up a lot more silver. I'm not trading gold for silver at this ratio. I still feel like it's a little bit low. I think we were at 75. Let me look. So, by the way, it's going up right now. We're now at 57.26. Guys, so I really don't think 60 is very far apart here. The ratio is 73.98 right now. So I do expect us to get into the 60s before we get anywhere close to the hundreds, and I don't think hundreds come again unless we have a economic issue that's going on. That's where I can see silver, taking a hit. But with that happening, guys, we're also seeing another breakout from a consolidation of gold, which just happened on Friday as well. So if you look at the lines on that, and I won't be able to find the data, it's on this phone, so I'm not gonna be able to pull it. But one of the posts that I liked on X the other day shows that our next run up for gold should put us at about $1,100 more than the current price of gold, which was at $4,200. So that puts us at about $5,300, and that would be somewhere in the spring, late winter to spring. So say February, March. If we see gold take that run and we see silver maybe get a run up here to 60, 65, maybe 70, and it comes back down towards 50, you can see those ratios start to get back up and down. Okay, so be watching out for those. Look out for that. Anything you want to say, OC?
I concur.
Now, is there a ratio you're looking for to potentially?
My first move will be at 70 to 1.
70 to 1 is what he's looking for, is where he's going to start trying to get into some more gold. But this is a personal thing. We cannot give you guys financial advice. We're just two dudes in a car running around doing deals and stuff like that.
Heading south.
Yeah, totally, guys. So, don't take our word for it. Do your own research on it, but we can share with you our experiences. We are going to have a booth somehow. We're going to figure out how to get it all put together for the Long Beach Coin Show coming up in February. So if you guys are local to Southern California, or even if you're in Northern California, look us up, come down. We will have some crazy good deals on silver and gold. And I will have my full Star Wars silver display out. Some of that stuff will be for sale at some crazy good prices relative to what they were in the past, because as you guys are probably noticing, collectibles just are not getting the same premium they used to. That's my fault for being too excited about buying the cool stuff. You guys that buying the boring stuff are probably getting a much better bang for your buck out of it. So, here's what I'll tell you on the ratio stuff. It all comes down to how much gold and silver you guys have. I have 60% gold in dollar value and 40% in silver. And, I've been trying to get more and more silver, and that's where I'm at today. Actually, that's where I was a couple days ago. I'm trying to get it a little bit more evened out, right? And then play the ratios a little bit more. So I have not been my gold and selling it and going into silver per se, but when I have sold some gold at coin shows, I do end up picking up more silver. And so, in essence, I was doing some swapping at 100 or 90 on the GSR. Once it gets down below 80, I don't really start swapping to get silver anymore. It's more of a just buy a little bit more silver if I want to. But I'll tell you guys here in the show as we talk why I'm getting silver, even though the ratio is starting to be a little less favorable for silver. It's still above 50. So anything above 50 is more of a silver play. Anything below 50 is more of a gold play. But it depends on what you got. So if you're on the opposite side, if you're 60% silver and 40% gold, just like OC Stacker was saying here, you may want to start considering at like a 70 ratio, a 65 ratio to start picking up some gold. I would do a little bit, in my opinion, right? I think we're going to see ratios get a lot lower than that. And the reason for that is I think we're going through something that's very unique, which is basically a monetary reset sometime in the next decade. And when they do these resets, they're going to revalue gold, which is also going to change the price of silver. We're probably going to see more countries using silver as a strategic reserve. They use it for military purposes. They also know it's used for money. And so I think the demand for it's going to be a lot higher. And I think what you're going to see is, right now you consume more than what's produced every year coming out of the ground. As the price goes up, you'll see more silver mines come online. And so that will change a little bit. But I think what you're going to see with this too is you're going to start to see that countries are using it for more monetary purposes. And that's a whole nother game that's going to go on. So right now I think gold is at the end of the second inning, probably the beginning of the third inning of the World Series of Gold on Game 7, let's call it. And silver is, just starting. First batter is up. And right now they're taking that first swing, right? So that's kind of where we're going to see things. But I think now is a great time to get into gold and silver if you're not in it. And if you've been in it for a while, and if you're a person that's starting to think, hey, these are really high numbers, I should probably be selling, I'd recommend you do a little bit more research and start looking at things. Now, obviously, if you have to sell because you need to pay bills, have an emergency or other thing like that, this is a good time to sell. But if you're selling because you're afraid prices are going to start dropping and going way back down, I'd recommend doing a lot more research, because the research is not showing me that it's going to go down. It's showing me that gold's going to double. So we're going to get to 8,000, and there's a high probability it's going to double again, which would put us at 16,000. So if you're not thinking $8,000 to $16,000 on gold, and if that's not part of your equation, then I think you need to do more research. Silver, on the other hand, because of the ratios and its demand, is going to do more than that. So I think we're going to see silver get somewhere between $150 to $500 an ounce over the next decade. And it could even get as high as $1,000 or even $2,000, depending on revaluations of gold and depending on what countries end up doing with silver. I mean, Mexico could decide not to export silver anymore, and that would shoot the price way up. So there's a lot of factors that could happen. All right, let's call everybody out here. I'm not going to do it on here. I'm going to do it on here. And as we're talking, guys, let's do another check-in on the price. $57.32 on silver, $4,230.50 on gold. So that's moving up.
So it's up $1 then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So basically, tomorrow's going to be a big day when the U.S. markets open. Typically, the banks show up in the morning and try to short it. And if they're successful in shorting it, then you're going to see the price start to get suppressed. If they're not successful in shorting this, then what you're going to see is prices jump. If we don't see massive shorting by the banks on Monday, I think we could hit $60 silver probably Tuesday, maybe even tomorrow. Depends on where we end up today. So that's a huge move, guys, in a very short period of time. I've been picking up more mining stocks lately, especially on the silver side. They're still way undervalued. There's still time to get involved in those. I will cover off on those for my members. So if you guys are a member, be looking out for some videos I'll be doing and some live streams around my mining stocks and my picks and how I'm dealing with them and what I'm doing with them. So those will be coming. The other thing I'll throw out there for you guys too is if you're not a member, it's easy. You can just click the button down below that says join, and that's how you get into a membership. It's $3 a month. It's dirt cheap. It's the lowest I can do it at. Now, if you guys want more help, there's also the ability to have one-on-one, to have access to my cell phone, to be able to text me, and then there's also options to have monthly calls, weekly calls, that kind of stuff. So let's look at the comments real quick. I want to see where you guys are at and your thoughts here. If I can get this to work right. Okay. So we're going to call out everybody OC here, and he's driving, so we don't want to distract him too much, but I know he's got so much on his mind. So we've got Richard Roche in here. We've got the notorious RPG 1980. The Humble Stacker, Born Hunting's in here. We've got Elle in here. Let's see. She's asking, what does OC Stacker think? What do you think? What do you think about during the day when you're driving?
Nothing really. I just, I like my position. I'm happy with where we're at on our stacking journey. I probably should clarify to people when I said 70 is going to be my first target. That's only 10%. So probably somewhere around a monster box, give or take, to convert, which it's easier for me to grab 6 ounces of gold than it is a monster box. They're very heavy, about 45 pounds a monster box. So that's my logic behind it. So
he's stepping it, right? So
yeah,
as it goes down to 60, you would do more.
Another 10%.
And 50.
Another 10%.
And what happens when it's now 10 gold ounces to 1 ounce of silver? What are you going to do then?
I'll probably, and while I'm doing
do you have
this,
any silver left?
Well, no. Well, what I'm saying is, I'm still buying silver, so I'm always accumulating silver because it's a smart buy. So, and then buying 90%.
So you'd keep trading all the way.
I'm just going to keep going. Yeah, I'll just keep building my silver, and as the ratios change, I'll just keep moving out. I'm never going to short myself on silver. Don't get me wrong. We need that for day to day and barter if it ever happens. So, I'm not going to leave myself short on silver because I'm piling up gold, but. At the end of the day, like I said, my wife and kids, well, my wife knows, but my kids, they only know what I've taught them, and they have no interest in doing this kind of stuff. So I'm trying to just make it simple for generational wealth, and they understand exactly what the value is. And it's
when I think gold's easier to understand for most people.
It is.
There's most of history. There's more value locked into gold than silver. So you have that to play off of too. It takes up less space. And by the way, I'm not saying that it's going to get to 10 ounces of gold to 1 ounce of silver. I have heard that on other channels. People have talked about that. Anything's possible. I mean,
hypothetical.
Anything's hypothetical. Anything's possible. Getting to a 1-to-1, what I'll tell you, if we get to 1-to-1 with silver and gold, that means that there is probably so much demand for silver that governments are willing to pay whatever they can just to get their hands on it, right? So they're seizing silver mines, they're taking them over. They're probably confiscating silver if we get down to there and it stays there for very long because it's so strategic. Now, on the flip side of that, it could be that there's just not a lot of demand for gold anymore, and people are starting to lose the interest in it, and they just don't see that it has a lot of value anymore. But I don't see that happening. You can go on to X or anywhere else where there's a ton of Bitcoin people, and they're going to tell you that it's time to sell all your gold and go buy Bitcoin, and then never sell your Bitcoin. That sounds very scammy to me. And I'm not going to say not to own Bitcoin. I think I have like 28 bucks in Bitcoin. I've owned a lot of Bitcoin at one time, and I've sold it because I just can't hold on to it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't sit right with me. I do have some other cryptos that I believe have some purpose and use, being in the financial sector, understanding what's coming down and what things are going to be done for. They have a lot more use than say Bitcoin. But with that said, I don't think it makes any sense to sell an asset that you have, like gold, into another asset that doesn't really exist. I wouldn't do that. And I never put more into crypto than I can exactly lose and walk away from it. So I kind of put it in crypto, forget about it, let it ride. I do recommend taking profits and making it so that you eventually just start playing with the house's money on it too. But I don't hate Bitcoin. I do like to troll people a lot on Bitcoin when they say dumb things. I like to correct them. If Bitcoin got way down in value from where it is today, and the gold and silver continues to go up, I might take a gamble and buy a little bit of it just in case it turns around. But we're going to start to see Bitcoin as well as the other cryptos go into a crypto winter and a bear market again. And I think we're going to see for the very first time in history a bunch of people jumping from crypto to gold and to silver. And when that happens, we're going to go from having 0.5% of people that are stackers to probably 10 to 20% are stacking. They won't be stacking as heavily as a lot of you have been able to do, and they will be buying way higher. And so I had this conversation with OC, and I want to see if he can share some of this with you guys too. And this is what happens when silver hits $100 an ounce. How many of you that are watching are going to be buying even more silver than you buy currently? Are you guys going to start getting priced out of it? Are you going to feel like it's too costly to buy? Are you going to be nervous that it isn't going to go higher? What happens when we get to $300 silver? What about $500 silver? What about $1,000 silver? At those numbers, which you guys, it's not crazy math. That's just going off of like where it should historically be based on inflation. The real numbers, like the shadow stats numbers, not the crappy CPI, CPI numbers. We should already be over $1,000. I think it's like $1,100 or $1,200 is where we should be at for silver. Be grateful it's not there. You can buy it still below that. But who's going to be buying it at those prices? And then what happens when we get down to a, like a 30 or a 20 GSR? Who's going to sell their gold for silver? Because at that kind of a GSR, people want silver more than they want gold. And so will you even want to sell your silver? It's going to be an interesting time. But let's start with the first one. OC, who do you think is going to be buying the silver when we get to $100 an ounce?
The next tier level buyers, which means all of us talking in here, we're all hobbyists. We enjoy talking about it. We enjoy investing in it. It's a fun. We have a great community. I don't think that'll ever change. What I think is going to happen is when people start getting more money in, the people that were in crypto say, hey, the ones that are smart will say, hey, look at it. It's a nice ride. We made some good money. What do we put our money into? I think those are going to be the next generation buyers, the people that are looking to have something tangible in their hands instead of an air biscuit on a piece of paper. So that's where I see the buyers coming in. A great
they're turning it back on us right now. They want to know from us, are you buying more silver than you are today when it hits 100?
Well, I have the perfect analogy for you folks, and here it comes. Most of you are probably, if you're working, have a 401k, your money every month you put away, you're buying stocks. And let's just use round numbers here. I'm buying Tesla. Boy, it just came out and it's $2 a share. Well, hey,
so let me stop you there for a second. So put a 1 in the chat if your extra money every month goes into the stock market. Put a 2 in the chat if your extra money every month goes into precious metals. Put a 3 in the chat if you do both.
Yeah.
And then put a 4 in the chat if you don't do any of that, because you don't have any extra money and you're just living.
Well, most people have some form of if they work for an employer, I should say. So maybe some of our viewers are.
That includes a 401k.
Yeah, anything. Although Roth IRAs, I max out my Roth IRAs every year. My extra money is obviously silver and gold. That's all a given. But my analogy is, Tesla was $2 a share. Now it's, I don't know what it is now, but let's just say it's $200 a share. You're still buying Tesla stocks, you're just not getting as many. How is that any different from the precious metals? Zero. If you believe in the product, you believe in what's going on with it, you see what's going on in the economy, you do, like everybody always says, do your own research. We are not financial planners. I'm just telling you what I've read, what I've learned, and this is what I'm doing. I'm 61 years old. You might be 22 years old. Two different analogies and prospectus, 100%. If I was 22, would I be doing more the crypto stuff? And yeah, because I'm young enough to gamble. If I lose, I can still keep earning money. I'm not working anymore technically. You're going to be in a different place than I am. That's why I give my numbers for where I'm at. I'm looking at retirement age. I don't know how much longer I'm going to live, if it's 10 days, 10 years, 20 years. I have no idea. So, that's why I do my 10% at every stopping point. So you have a little bit of liquidation. And if we're comfortable and don't need it, then I'm probably not going to do it. Or if it goes from 70 down to 40 within the span of a couple of months, am I going to do another 10%? Well, that's kind of a no-brainer. That's like taking out of a stock that isn't performing and moving it into a stock that is performing. No different. So if you use that kind of, forward thinking and looking at it, it's no different than these investors and Wall Street people giving you advice on what stock to buy.
Yeah, and it's everything has its own season, okay? And so, we're at a point now where the season of, let's just call it stocks, is starting to, we're in the fall of the season for stocks, right? The stocks market's been running up for a long time, and it's starting to look very frothy. You're starting to see a capital rotation out of stocks into the precious metals, and we're starting to potentially see a very similar thing with the cryptos. And I'm going to make this so it's a little brighter for you guys to see. Oh, that.
Why don't you?
That makes it brighter.
For maybe not everybody in your audience knows what capital rotation is.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that too. So we've got 134 of you on here. Double tap the screen. That's how you go give a thumbs up. We get to 100 thumbs up, we'll do a silver giveaway. We get to 150 thumbs up, we'll do another silver giveaway. We get to 200 thumbs up, we'll do even another silver giveaway. And if by some chance before this stream is out, we got up to 1,000 thumbs up, I'll give out a 10-ounce silver bar. How's that? I just don't think we're going to hit that. But if you do, then I might not do it again, but I'd be very surprised. You guys might tell all your friends to come over on the stream, and I'll give that away. Those are about $600.
I was going to say, yeah.
So don't tell my wife if that ends up happening. But hey, it'd be a good surprise to see. So, all right, let's talk about capital for a minute here. So money always likes to find a home, and it likes to find a home that's the easiest to get into. Okay,
and growing,
and it's growing, and there's upside to it, right? So first, money likes to look for things that are depressed in value or undervalued. Now, precious metals, physical, doesn't really like to take things there, right? That's a hard thing because it's much harder to move. So it's always a market that's a little bit harder for things. But